Well, we've got quite the collection of reality TV updates to dive into today. From Atlanta to New Jersey, Beverly Hills, and even some social media buzz from the Summer House and Southern Charm cruise. There's no shortage of things to talk about.
Sounds like we're in for a wild ride then. Buckle up.
Absolutely. So let's kick things off down south with the Atlanta Housewives, where Angela Oakley recently spilled some tea on Watch What Happens Live. You know, she addressed that long-standing rumor about her husband, Charles Oakley, and Sheree Whitfield.
Yeah, the one about them supposedly dating back in the day.
Exactly. Angela kind of just came right out and said, yeah, you know, Charles dated a lot of women before they got together. And she believes the rumor's probably true, but it's not something they dwell on.
Which, I mean, fair enough. It's their past and they've moved on. But you can't deny that those kinds of past connections always have a way of popping up, especially in the world of reality TV.
Oh, for sure. And Angela didn't shy away from addressing another bit of gossip, this time about her appearance. Shamea Morton had made a comment about Angela's retro nose.
Oh, I remember that.
Right? And Angela clapped back, calling Shamea Shamina and suggesting that both Shamea and her friends have similar noses.
Didn't she even make a comparison to the Jackson family?
She did. She even threw in a Flavor Flav reference, you know, because they're friends with him.
It seems like Angela's not one to let those kinds of remarks slide.
No, she's definitely not afraid to speak her mind. And this wasn't the only time she called out Shamea.
Oh, right. There was that whole thing with Shamea's apology to Drew Sidora at Kelly Farrell's event.
Yeah, Angela felt left out of that apology and saw it as a total Mean Girls move.
It just goes to show how easily feelings can get hurt and how these housewives perceive things.
Absolutely. It's like every little action, every word is analyzed and can potentially shift alliances.
It's like a social chess game.
Exactly. Speaking of dynamics, Angela also weighed in on the whole Drew Sidora and Dennis McKinley situation. You know, with Portia Williams being Dennis's ex.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation for sure.
Angela basically said that Portia should let Drew make her own money, and that Drew had actually told Portia about filming with Dennis.
And she even went as far as telling Portia to leave Dennis alone.
She did. Angela definitely doesn't hold back on giving her opinions, does she?
Not at all. She also told Shamea to stop shucking and jiving and sit down. And even told Kelly to shut up because she thought Kelly was being too loud.
Oh, yeah. And then on a more positive note, she gave Brittany Eady a shout-out of support, telling her not to listen to the haters.
Angela's definitely got a strong personality, and she uses it to protect those she's loyal to.
Definitely. And that came out even more during the Watch What Happens Live after show. She called Shamea a self-professed lapdog for defending Portia.
Ouch. But then, when asked if she was a lapdog for Drew, she blamed it on her wig.
It was hilarious. Like she was saying, don't blame me, blame the hair.
Classic Angela.
So Charles Oakley was also on the after show, and he finally addressed that whole thing about him being banned from Madison Square Garden.
Ah, yeah, that's been a recurring question for a while.
He clarified that he's not technically banned, but hasn't been back since that incident in 2017.
So, a little bit of closure there.
Now, let's shift gears to New Jersey, where things have been heating up off camera.
Uh-oh, what's going on up north?
Well, Bethenny Frankel has been making headlines with her very public reaction to the news that Teresa Giudice and Luz Ruelas have some serious tax liens against them.
Oh, wow, that's big news. How much are we talking?
Millions of dollars, apparently. It seems like Teresa's financial troubles might be back to haunt her again.
It's kind of giving major deja vu considering what happened with Joe Giudice.
Right. And Bethenny didn't hold back on her thoughts about it. She went on social media and basically said she couldn't believe Teresa's in another marriage with financial and legal issues.
What did she say exactly?
She basically said she was stunned and couldn't believe Teresa hadn't learned from her past.
That's got a sting coming from Bethenny.
Yeah, and it didn't stop there. Bethenny also brought up the fact that Teresa didn't get a prenup with Louis.
Oh, I remember how strongly Bethenny felt about that whole prenup thing.
She said that when she heard Teresa wasn't getting a prenup, she wanted to jump through the phone and stop her. She even compared Teresa's relationship choices, including her marriage to Jason Hoppy, and pointed out how she herself didn't end up in jail.
Okay, she's definitely making her opinions known.
Oh, yeah. And then she questioned why Teresa and Luis would even stay on the show with these financial problems hanging over their heads. She compared it to having a dead body in your trunk.
That's a pretty intense analogy.
It is, and she even brought up how she had heard early on that Luis was showering Teresa with expensive gifts.
Which, I mean, is pretty typical in the housewives world.
Yeah, but Bethenny found it all a bit much, especially for someone who's supposed to be on a show like RHONJ.
Which, by the way, she called a trash bin of a show.
She didn't hold back.
So what exactly is the financial situation with Teresa and Luis?
Well, from what we know, Teresa owes the IRS over $300,000, and Luis owes at least $2.5 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
It is. And amidst all this talk about Teresa and Luis's financial problems, rumors started swirling about Jennifer and Bill Aydin.
What, like they were having money trouble too?
Yeah, some people were saying that Jennifer and Bill had loaned Teresa and Luis a huge sum of money, like $500,000, to help them out.
Wow, really?
But an insider close to the Aydins shut those rumors down. They said there was no truth to the loan story.
Okay, so that's one rumor debunked.
There were also whispers that Jennifer and Bill had filed for bankruptcy and were getting divorced.
That's a lot to throw at them all at once.
I know, right? But the insider said there's no evidence of any bankruptcy filing, and the divorce rumors are just that, rumors.
So where did all this come from?
Apparently, it started with a RHONJ fan page that shared some incorrect information, but they've since corrected it.
Those fan pages can be a mixed bag sometimes.
They can, but Jennifer herself went on Instagram and labeled all the rumors as fake news.
Well, that settles that.
Let's move over to Beverly Hills now. Garcelle Beauvais has announced that she's leaving RHOBH after 5 seasons.
Oh, wow. That's a big shakeup for the cast.
She made the announcement in a video on Instagram saying she wants to focus on being there for her sons, especially with one of them starting a new career path.
It's totally understandable. Family comes first.
She also mentioned some exciting upcoming projects, but didn't spill all the details.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
And of course, she thanked Andy Cohen, Bravo, the production companies, everyone involved with the show.
Class stacked.
Andy Cohen commented on her post too, saying it was an incredible run and that the door's always open for her to return.
I wonder if she will eventually.
Garcelle thanked her fans and said it's not goodbye, but see you later.
So there's still hope.
Maybe. But even with Garcelle leaving, there's still plenty of drama unfolding in Beverly Hills. A preview clip showed Kyle Richards questioning why she's being singled out for not defending Sutton Stracke during a confrontation with Erika Jayne and Dorit Kemsley.
What was the confrontation about?
It seems like Erika and Dorit were calling Sutton out for the way she treats people.
Classic housewives drama.
Right. And Kyle felt like she was unfairly being put on the spot for not immediately jumping to Sutton's defense.
What did Sutton have to say about that?
Garcelle actually chimed in, telling Kyle that Sutton probably sees her as a hero who should always save the day.
Interesting take.
And Garcelle pointed out that Kyle's silence hurts more for Sutton because of those high expectations.
It sounds like there are some unspoken rules in their friendship.
Totally. And Garcelle even admitted in a confessional that she's not sure how Sutton's expectations of Kyle will affect her own friendship with Sutton.
It's a complicated web they weave.
It is. And this whole thing stems from an earlier situation where Garcelle was upset with Sutton for not backing her up when she questioned Kyle about her friendship with Morgan Wade.
So basically, a lot of shifting alliances and hurt feelings.
Yep. Sounds about right for Beverly Hills.
Now, onto a lighter note. Did you see Dorit Kemsley's reunion dress?
I heard it was a Vivienne Westwood. Do you know how much it cost?
It was a whopping $7,000.
Wow, that's a serious fashion statement.
Kyle kept it a bit more low-key with a retro feet dress for $800. And Kathy Hilton wore a self-portrait dress that was around $950.
It's interesting how Dorit went all out with the designer label, considering she'd recently called Kyle out for some hurtful comments about their friendship.
Oh, right. There was some tension there.
Yeah, Dorit felt like Kyle's remarks were really nasty, mean, and hurtful, especially since they're both going through separations from their husbands.
That makes sense. Going through a separation can make you extra sensitive.
Absolutely.
So do you think this means Dorit and Kyle aren't friends anymore?
Well, Dorit did say that after the reunion, there would be absolutely no doubt about where their friendship stands.
Oof. Sounds like things might be over for good.
Maybe. She also talked about navigating a dark place and getting rid of toxic things in her life, you know, with the marital issues and being on television.
It sounds like she's going through a lot.
She is. But she also mentioned getting close with the newbie, Boz St. John, during the season.
It's always interesting to see how the dynamics shift when a new housewife joins the mix.
Speaking of shifting dynamics, the Kyle Richards and Morgan Wade saga continues.
What's the latest?
Well, they were recently photographed together in Paris.
Oh la la.
I know, right? It just keeps fueling those romance rumors that Kyle keeps denying.
It seems like they're inseparable these days.
They are. But an insider claimed that things got pretty heated at the reunion when the topic of Mauricio came up.
Uh-oh, what happened?
The insider said that some of the other housewives brought up Mauricio's alleged relationships and even accused Kyle of lying for the show.
Whoa, that's a serious accusation.
I know, right? And apparently it got so intense that Kyle walked off the set, not once but twice.
Oh, wow, that's dramatic.
It is. But Kyle denied walking off the set during an Amazon Live appearance. She said she dealt with everything head on.
So who's telling the truth?
It's hard to say. But another source claims that Kyle has actually walked off reunion sets before, but it was never aired.
Really? What was that about?
Well, this source said that one time Kyle walked off because she didn't want the other housewives to gang up on Kim Richards.
Ah, the sisterly bond.
Right. And this source also suggested that Kyle tries to control the narrative of the show because she has a producer credit.
That's interesting. It makes you wonder how much influence the housewives actually have behind the scenes.
I know, right? It blurs the line between reality and produced drama.
Going back to New Jersey for a second, did you see Teresa's Instagram post after the news about the tax liens broke?
The one where she's wearing that designer t-shirt?
Yeah, that one. Talk about tone deaf.
I know, right? A lot of people called her out for it, saying it was insensitive considering her financial situation.
Especially since she was all about new beginnings and unstoppable energy in the caption.
Some people even thought maybe she'd scheduled the post before the news came out.
It's hard to say. But regardless, it definitely rubbed some people the wrong way.
It did. And, some people brought up the fact that she chose not to get a prenup with Louis.
Yeah, that's definitely going to come back to bite her now.
One commenter even said that those tax lands suggest shadows and darkness, not unstoppable energy.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, not everyone was critical, though. Some fans defended her, saying she has a right to be positive.
True, everyone copes differently.
Switching gears to Summer House, Paige DeSorbo has been keeping it real on social media lately.
Oh, what's she up to?
Well, she showed an unfiltered photo of her skin showing some acne. She called it realistic skin.
I love that. It's so refreshing to see someone embrace their natural self.
I agree. And then she posted this cryptic quote about how no one calls men losers, and that's the problem.
That's interesting.
I know, right? And she added, "Good morning. Start your week off right."
It sounds like she might be making a statement about societal expectations and double standards.
Possibly. And, all of this is happening in the wake of her split from Craig Conover.
Yeah, that breakup has been all over the news.
It has. And Paige recently said on the Summer House after show that she tolerated too much from Greg and that he wasn't very supportive of her career.
Oof, that's tough.
It is. And Craig, on the other hand, has talked about getting mixed signals from Paige before the breakup.
Oh, like what kind of mixed signals?
He mentioned a good Thanksgiving they had and even said Paige had asked him to buy her a ring.
Oh, wow. That's confusing.
Definitely. It just shows how messy breakups can be, especially when you're in the public eye.
Moving on to another Summer House situation, did you hear about Lexi Wood shading Ciara Miller on Instagram?
No, what did she do?
She reposted a photo of the female cast members, but Ciara was conveniently left out.
Ouch, that's gotta sting.
It does seem intentional. And there's been tension between them this season because of Jesse Solomon.
Oh, right. They both had their eyes on him.
Exactly. And Ciara recently said in an interview that she doesn't understand why Lexi's upset. She doesn't think Jesse's flirting is a big deal.
She sees it as harmless.
Yeah, she described him as a flirt who loves his female friends.
Interesting.
She even commented on Lexi being a self-proclaimed lover girl and told Jesse to pump the brakes.
She wasn't holding back on her advice?
Nope. But then she also had some nice things to say about Lexi, mentioning her Canadian background and her love for ketchup chips.
That's kind of sweet.
It is. Maybe there's still hope for them to be friends.
We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Finally, let's wrap things up with some Real Housewives of Orange County drama.
What's going on in the OC?
Well, there's this video circulating that supposedly shows Heather Dubrow making a scene at an airport after the cast trip to New Orleans.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, in the video, Heather's wagging her finger and seemingly giving someone a piece of her mind.
That's so Heather Dubrow.
Right. The hosts of Watch What Crappens even joked about it, mimicking Heather's voice and everything.
I love Watch What Crappens. They're hilarious.
They are. Anyway, all of this happened around the same time that Tamra Judge briefly announced she was leaving RHOC.
Oh, right. I remember that. But then she was spotted filming again.
She was. Apparently, she had a pretty heated conversation with Heather.
What was it about?
Sources say it might have involved Gretchen Rossi.
Oh, boy. The drama never ends.
It really doesn't. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of the latest reality TV news. From Atlanta to New Jersey, Beverly Hills, and even some summer house and Orange County shenanigans, these housewives certainly know how to keep us entertained. It makes you wonder what really goes on behind the scenes and how much of what we see is genuine versus manufactured drama.
It's definitely a fascinating world to peek into.
It is. What do you think about all these situations? Did any of these stories stand out to you more than others? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Until next time, keep watching those housewives. And we'll be back with more deep dives into the wild world of reality TV.
Bye for now.